In a world constantly in motion, organizations face a lot of external as well as internal change. Agile management is a very popular approach to managing projects, teams, organizations, and is often seen as a successful way of managing constant change and crisis. One of the great things about Agile management is that it takes people out of these functional and hierarchical silos and places them into teams that are customer-centered and responsive, but that often means that they're without managers or leaders. But in a world of constant change and crisis, how do these Agile teams actually deal and cope with change without managers or leaders? Now, we know a lot about Agile management, and principally around adjusting team structures, team processes, tools, and methods. Agile management, for instance, buddies people up. We use wall charts. We do daily stand-up meetings. However, little attention is actually focused on emotional experiences within Agile teams. And that's a bit surprising, right? Because constant change actually triggers emotions in people, negative emotions, and we know that those can have downstream consequences. So although Agile teams might follow Agile principles, when it comes to dealing with crisis and constant change, not all of them are actually successful. So why is that? So to find out, we conducted a 2-year comparative case study with nursing teams in a hospital that went through floods, went through organizational restructuring, and the COVID-19 pandemic. So our aim going into this study was to understand how these nursing teams that are Agile and follow Agile principles dealt and coped with the various crises, and why certain teams were successful and not others. One of our key findings in this study is that Agile teams in crisis require affective leaders with an A. So there are specifically 4 types of behaviors that the affective leaders actually engaged in successful Agile teams. Number 1, they grasped the individuality of each individual's emotions in each team. Number 2, the affective leader really recalibrated and worked hard to recalibrate negative emotions of members into a more positive emotional experience. Number 3, the leader actually worked hard to look after the well-being of his members, for instance, thanking and praising on a daily basis. And number 4, the leader actively scouted and dispelled cliques or subgroups, if you like, that formed within teams during crisis. So these behaviors of the effective leader allowed the team during a crisis to unite and collectively respond successfully. What we found was that these behaviors enabled a positive, emotional, collective experience of that team. And of course, that worked during the crisis. However, in teams that did not have effective leaders, we found that during crisis, the members' relationships disintegrated, they were not a lot of camaraderie, no team spirit, and of course, they did not collectively manage to unite and deal with the crisis at hand. Now, the important implication of this is that for an organization that wants to be agile, they must really rethink the role of leadership in Agile teams. And as we've shown, these are necessary with specific affective behaviors. In conclusion, our work shows that Agile management and emotions are intimately linked, and being Agile does not simply consist of looking after team structures, processes, tools, and methods. And instead, we shine a bright light on one of the founding tenets of the Agile Manifesto, which really says, look after people and interactions as opposed to mastering processes and tools. We really hope that you enjoyed reading our paper. Thanks a lot.